Have you ever thought that a coincidence may be God working in your favor?
Let's talk about that in today's 10-minute talk.
Hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome to today's 10-minute talk. My name is Pastor Jay Wentworth. I have the privilege of being the lead pastor here at Spirit of Life Church, and this is my friend Ivan Gonzales. Ivan, say what's up, man.
Hey, good morning, everybody. What's going on?
And we're glad to join you today and this morning to talk about a miracle that God worked in Ivan's life that maybe he didn't even see coming. And I just think it's a great story, and I wanted him to be able to share. So, Ivan, tell us about your story.
Yeah, that's a great question, Pastor Jay. This story took place actually in the summer of 2024, so very recently, July 25th to be exact.
Okay.
And, it was just a usual day, nothing out of the ordinary. I felt completely fine, went to bed, felt great. And actually, what was interesting about this night, Pastor Jay, was that I normally wear a cross, right? Wear this cross, and I always wear it to sleep and every night, right? Well, this one night I took it off. I don't know why. I just took it off. I laid it on my shelf, and in the middle of the night, around like 11 p.m., I started feeling this like really hard chest pain, right? It was just strange. It was out of the ordinary. Never felt it before. And I was just trying to lay there, but there was so much discomfort that I just couldn't go back to sleep.
Yeah.
So I got up thinking, okay, maybe I need a burp or some of the food, right, that I ate throughout the day. But that just wasn't it. I started walking around, and this pain just started getting deeper and deeper to the point to where it was hard to breathe. And I was like, okay, some things are going on. Maybe it could be like my chest, maybe it could have been like my stomach, like a gas bubble or something. So I go to the fridge, thinking, all right, trying to diagnose the situation here. I grab 7-Up, chug it down like the fastest I've ever chugged it, although it was burning my throat. And it was interesting because I let out this big burp, but nothing felt relieved.
Right.
So I'm like, okay. Now, next thing is I could try to make myself, vomit, thinking I maybe have internal bleeding.
Yeah, well, that's a scary thought, but I get it. Yeah,
definitely. But got to cross out what it can't be. So I go to the restroom and try letting it out. Nothing. Still the same pain. Still the same discomfort. End up going back out to the living room, to the couch, sit there. I'm like, okay, I have two options here. I can either stay here in pain and agony. Yeah. And my parents can find me dead in the morning, right? A very real situation. And number two is I can ask for help and go to the hospital, get it checked out. Yeah. Right? Because it was just discomfort. I was just itching. I don't know. Yeah. I just felt
I'm going to stop you right there. It's interesting if you look at this in a broader scope, how even as Christians, sometimes our knee-jerk reaction is to do all these human things. Right, to just, I'm gonna go to the fridge, I'm gonna burp, I'm gonna, get to the hospital, and in that process, in an emergency, sometimes God seems to be our last resort, like a fallback option, right? And it's very interesting, and I don't think that's just you. I think that's everybody, and part of it I think is because we can't physically see God. And so we don't think of that first because we live in this material world. So it's really difficult to have the processing to always go to God right away in an emergency. But it's so difficult, way easier said than done, obviously. But continue.
Yeah, you're so right, because that didn't even pop up in my mind.
Right.
I ran to my parents' room. Well, I shouldn't say ran, I walked, panting. But I went in there and I was like, hey, I need to go to the hospital, and that was it. I just turned around quickly because I could barely talk. And I remember going to my room, getting some socks on, and going to my drawer, and I just was so disoriented. I couldn't decipher which sock was which sock. I didn't have that mental capacity to do so. Anyways, going forward, We're driving to the hospital. It felt like the longest drive ever. It was only like maybe a 6-minute drive, honestly.
Yeah.
It felt like 20 minutes.
Yeah, I bet.
And we get there, and I was thinking, okay, as we pull up, maybe I could throw myself, though, fall out of the car. They can quickly rush me in. I was
Yeah.
probably not the greatest idea. I get in there, sit down, get all checked in, and I just remember being in so much agony and pain. And there was a gentleman actually sitting to my left side across from us, and my mom was sitting to my right side. And I just remember him just kind of like side-eyeing, like seeing how much pain I was in. And he actually had a necklace with a cross on it. This is so interesting, Pastor Jay, because he was pointing in my direction. And at that point in time, that's when it hit me. It made me realize, like, why have I not been seeking our Father for help for this?
Yeah.
Like, that last resort.
And that's interesting too, because what I found in my journey in ministry and my calling is that sometimes when we forget God, He will use other people or other situations to remind us that He's there. To remind us, hey, you forgot me. And you're in the middle of this pain, and here I am, your healer, and you just like left me in the dust, because you're so worried about taking care of it. And God will put reminders in front of you. And sometimes if we're not aware and looking for that, we miss those. And even subconsciously looking for that, so sometimes it's hard, but continue.
Yeah. So when I saw that, it made me realize, like, okay, the one thing I haven't tried and I'm about to try at the hospital is I need to pray.
Yeah.
I need to pray, and I was just like trying to collect everything that I had in me at that time, and I was just like, okay. And I looked to my mom, and I said, hey mom, I need you to do something with me, a huge favor. I need you to pray with me. Like, I really need you to pray with me. And I just remember just, leaning down over and just praying to our Father and just asking Him that whatever's going on with me, that it be resolved, and if it isn't His will, that it could be healed.
Yeah.
And once I said amen, my mom said amen. Pastor Jay, just the most amazing thing happened, because at that point, I just felt all this heavy burden lifted.
Yeah.
It just felt like if there was a meter, and there's like I was filled in with black space, this white space filled my body, and just all this weight was just gone. The pain was instantly gone. And I looked to my mom, and I just like started crying. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
I started crying because the miracle just happened.
Yeah.
And she was like, "What's going on? What's going on?" I was like, "Mom, I'm healed. Like, this is amazing. Like, I've never experienced this. I've never felt this." And I was like, "We can go home now. We don't gotta stay here at the hospital."
Let's save the money, right?
Exactly. But it was just it was a big moment, and that guy that was sitting over there, he wasn't even there anymore.
Yeah. And it also makes you wonder, did you see that guy leave?
Yeah, like just barely, just at a glance. Like, he wasn't even there for very long.
Yeah, it's interesting. But did he go in the emergency room, or did he leave the hospital?
I couldn't even tell you, because I remember he was there, and when we were done praying, that's when he was just kind of walking out, and he was just gone. Yeah, I couldn't even describe his face to you.
And it could have been a normal dude. It could have been an angel. We'll never have the answer to that question. We don't know that. But the thing is God used even you seeing him as a way to communicate to you that, hey, that cross that you left behind, pick it back up. And I think there's a lesson in that here, is that sometimes we leave Jesus behind, not just when we have, health emergencies or when we go to bed, but sometimes during the day, we leave Jesus behind, and he gives us the grace to just pick him back up. And he's still willing to give us love and healing and grace, even after we forgot him. Even after we tried 7-Up and the refrigerator and burping and all kinds of stuff, he's still willing to try to guide us home despite all that. And I don't know many humans, like if you just left them in the dust and forgot about them, even though they'd helped you your whole life, that would come back and be like, oh, don't worry about it. Very few. So that's how we know we have a God that loves us. Things like that when they happen. And man, that's just a remarkable story, and I'm glad you're better. And friends, let's keep in mind that this is just like a healthy young man. And then, we don't know what the enemy had in store for him that night, but obviously the enemy was trying to pull one on him. And don't forget that the cross protects you. Okay, and I know it's just a necklace, but it's not just a necklace. If you truly mean it when you wear it, it is a source of protection. And we got to remember that, friends, that when Jesus died on the cross, he died to protect us from the enemy. He died to save us from certain death, and he conquered death. And if you really remember that in your life, then you're going to be able to live to the fullest without fear. You're going to be able to walk through that valley of the shadow of death or the emergency room and feel great afterwards because you know there's a God on your side. So, hey, Ivan, thanks for joining us this morning, man. And friends, we'll be back next week with another edition of 10-Minute Talk. And hey, if you have a great God story and you want to share it here, just let us know. If you can get here at 6 a.m. in the morning, and we'll have you on here. So we love you guys. Have a great week. Peace out.